MJD Beats.
Live on the National Sports Studios from Spreaker.com, you are listening to In the Paint with Jordan Hunter and your host, Cameron Sadeghi.
Welcome to In the Paint. I'm Cameron Sadeghi alongside Jordan Hunter and a special guest, Jonathan Cowan here, talking about the NBA. Let me introduce Jonathan real quick. He is a sports writer and a broadcaster for Notre Dame High School, and he's been helping them out with sports writing and sports broadcasting, and he is the newest member here on Spreaker.com National Sports. Thanks, Jonathan, for coming on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you had some games that you believe are not being discussed enough really in the media. What are some games that we should look forward to in this upcoming season?
One game is on November 26th when the Milwaukee Bucks play against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's going to feature the first and second pick of the NBA draft, Jabari Parker and Andrew Wiggins. And last year, when they played in college, Duke played against Kansas in the Champions Classic in Chicago, and both players exploded. Wiggins went for 22 points and 8 boards, and Jabari went for 27 points and 9 rebounds. And those are the two front runners for Rookie of the Year, and it'll be good to see them match up again.
Jordan, what do you think about the matchup?
Well, sometimes I think these head-to-head matchups can be overrated and overstated at times. I think both these players are very good, and they're both on bad teams, which is definitely going to give them a chance to shine. But whenever these, you see two young guys go at it, it's usually sometimes the veterans that tend to step up because the young guys are taking wild shots. But anytime you're going to see two young stars shine, and hopefully, if it's on TV, which I doubt it will because, it's Milwaukee, and they're never on TV. But hopefully a lot of people can see how good these two actually are. And, Wiggins reportedly on a new team. Wiggins reportedly on a new team where he can get a lot of shots up. And he was saying he wants to be on a team where he features, and I think Minnesota's the right fit for him.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's a really... I think they'll be a good, solid team. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but Milwaukee, they have a lot of work to do, and some people have been saying Wiggins is overrated. Some people have been saying Jabari is such an efficient guy, and some are saying that Wiggins is not efficient. And I think you're right, Jonathan. I think it will be a great matchup, but unfortunately, it's not going to be on national TV. It's so unfortunate because these are two small markets. ESPN, step your game up. TNT, step your game up and realize good matchups.
Yeah, Milwaukee Bucks are playing 2 times this year on national TV as opposed to 2 times, which is like a lot for them, as opposed to Oklahoma City Thunder, the Clippers here playing 32 times.
Oh,
more than 10 times as much.
That's great. Everyone loves to see themselves some Blake Griffin and Russell Westbrook. So
Lob City. Another big matchup I think this year is going to be the Clippers' home season opener against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now with Steve Ballmer now steps in as the new owner, it's going to be interesting how the fans react. Last year the Clippers left the court with a bitter loss in Game 6 when they blew a 16-point first half lead.
Yeah, I think definitely with Steve Ballmer changing the culture in LA, especially with the Clippers, I think it's a real positive for the Clippers, and I think the Clippers will. We talked about this before the show, and we were debating for the Clippers, like who's going to be the second seed in the West, and Jonathan said the Clippers, and then Jonathan, I think you said the Thunder would be the third seed, and I agree. I think the Clippers are a better team, and I really truly believe that we'll see the Clippers showcase their talents and really, I hate saying this, but dominate the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jordan.
Oh, gosh. I know how much you loved that Clippers Thunder series in the playoffs
Oh no.
this year. When I was at broadcast camp, I heard a lot of hate for the Clippers, how they're just a regular season team. They can't finish in the playoffs. And it's true, the last 3 years, they've made it to the playoffs, and they've had, it's been bad. But this year, I think they get a step up from Blake Griffin. DeAndre Jordan's the same beast on the inside. Chris Paul can become a little more assertive in close games. I think they could definitely get the number 2 seed and maybe make it to the Western Conference Finals.
But I don't think. Sorry, real quick. I don't think Chris Paul needs to be so assertive. I think he needs to be the opposite. I think
not too assertive, but down the stretch, they shouldn't be having to look for Blake Griffin down the stretch.
No, you got to look for whoever's open. In my opinion, I think their offense becomes so stagnant, and that's so. Really, Doc Rivers is not that type of guy. He always generates some movement, and it seems like it becomes the Chris Paul show in the fourth quarter, and we saw at the end, Chris Paul fumbling the basketball in the paint. I mean, you got to have some type of better offense, and the Clippers have bad execution in the late game situations.
Well, I think one thing that's going to be evident next year is I think that DeAndre Jordan's going to take a real big step forward.
Yeah.
He's really made good strides each of these last couple of years. I think this could be a year maybe where he goes up from like 9 or 10 points a game to maybe like 15, 16 and really becomes more of an inside true presence, maybe develops a jump hook or something, like some good offensive moves. Yeah, so I'm really disappointed in the Oklahoma City Thunder offseason. I thought that they had an opportunity at Pau Gasol. If they had waived Kendrick Perkins via the amnesty, they would have had enough money to sign Gasol, and I'm just disappointed they didn't do that or made a run at another shooter. I mean, they got Anthony Morrow, but they didn't fill a void, I felt like, to find a third scorer to replace what James Harden needs to bring to the team.
They're a team who has a lot of talent. Westbrook and Durant, and Ibaka's stepped up a lot too, defensively and offensively. And if you want to get better, you can't just keep your same guys and expect the West around you to deteriorate. You have to go out and get guys. Morrow was a good sign. He's a 3-point specialist. But you look at other teams. Look at teams like the Clippers. Got guys like Spencer Hawes.
Big baby.
And, yeah, he's gonna be a big pickup for them. Guys like Blake Griffin. They're working out in the gym, getting better. And the Spurs they're re-signing guys, and they're drafting good guys like Kyle Anderson. And Portland's getting better, but the Thunder are kind of just stagnant in their offseason moves the last couple of years.
Well, one thing about the Thunder is they have some young guys who I think are going to develop. I think Jeremy Lamb's going to really step into the starting role this year and fill what Seth Loesch used to bring to them, and I think that he could be a 14 points per game kind of guy.
I think with Oklahoma City, it's never a question of talent. They're to me, like, okay, I think the Clippers are the most talented team in the league, but I think... Well, I mean, top to bottom.
Yeah, but depth-wise, they have great depth. I mean,
depth-wise, yeah, but like
I'm saying depth. I'm saying depth, not the superstars. But they the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have the best 1-2 punch at this moment. And to me, I feel like both Westbrook and Durant, it shouldn't be anyone's fault that they don't have a third scorer. They don't need to get any more talent. They simply don't involve guys. I mean, so many times in the fourth quarter, Durant will be double-teamed, Westbrook will be double-teamed, and they can't find the open guy, or they can't make the simple pass. And
I think that's some of the GM not surrounding them with the right talent.
But they have great talent.
No, they don't have... You think Jeremy Lamb, he was inconsistent in the playoffs. Besides Reggie Jackson, they didn't get a consistent scorer.
But what do you mean by consistent scorer? I'm looking at a spot-up jump shooter. They need spot-up jump shooters.
Well, I mean, Anthony Moore did shoot 45% from three last
year. And Cephalosha has a great three-point shooting percentage. You can look.
Cephalosha's no longer in the team, but I think that Morrow is going to be a good pickup. The one thing I think they're missing is a true low-post presence. They don't have an offensive low-post juggernaut who can score.
I don't think they need that.
They're not that type of team. They need guys who can clean up the boards and do the dirty work, and that's why they have guys like Nick Collison and Mitch McGarry. If you're a fan of him, Cameron.
Oh no.
Oh God. You don't like workhorses?
I don't understand why the media loves to promote Mitch McGarry. Just because you yell and scream and tear into your teammates during a big game in the Final Four doesn't make you a great leader. I mean, I don't know where we got that from. Like,
I think McGarry was a steal in the draft.
I think he's a solid player, but some of these college analysts overreacted to McGarry's performance. I mean, let's be honest.
The NBA has a pretty big big set of games on Christmas Day. What are your thoughts on the slate?
Oh gosh.
Really, I think there's some great games, but the one game that makes me a little upset has to be, I believe it's the Knicks and the Wizards, if I'm right. Yeah. Come on. Like, the NBA, really? You want to see John Wall and Bradley Beal just rip it apart at the Garden? It's going to be embarrassing for Knicks fans to see that. It's a bad Christmas gift. Why not, promote the game in a better way? I mean, yeah, you got the Heat, Cavs, you got the Spurs, Thunder. Those are good games. I mean, really, to open up Christmas Day at the Garden with Washington, who's a superior team, that's just a joke.
Yeah, I would have liked to see them. I would like to keep Washington and maybe throw in a team like the Raptors.
Yeah.
Give them some more exposure. I know you're a fan of Toronto, Cameron.
Yeah.
I know you like that slogan, "We the North."
Uprising.
Yeah, the Raptors and Wizards, they had one of the most competitive in-season records. It was so close, and I think those are the second-tier teams, in my opinion, in the East, behind Cleveland and Chicago, which is another team I like to see. I like to see them play on Christmas Day, but I'm fine with the Bulls playing the Lakers. Yeah, I'm fine with them playing.
Well, the Lakers are always on Christmas.
Yeah.
I think overall the games are really good on Christmas Day. I mean,
Yeah.
9 a.m. game Pacific time, Knicks versus Wizards isn't a great game, but it's the early morning game. TV ratings are going to be way down, and they needed something to fill the void with a large TV audience. But I mean, you look at OKC, San Antonio, Cleveland, Miami, and in my opinion, the best game of the day, Golden State Clippers. I mean, that's a pretty fierce rivalry.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree with you with the Golden State and Clippers rivalry there. I mean, both teams are just really explosive in transition. I mean, they can go up to the 120s. I mean, they're really great scoring teams when they go up and down the floor, and a lot of great three-point shooting. I agree. But speaking of Toronto, it's just typical ESPN not giving wanting to get the Toronto game. They have to settle for Washington and New York. I mean, it's like they never give credit to the Raptors.
But at least they put that game in the morning. Because I remember
True.
last year when it was the Nets Bulls in the morning. No one was watching. Everyone was eating Christmas breakfast. I wasn't even watching. I was like, oh, whatever. The Bulls are blowing out the Nets, or whatever the case was. But yeah. I agree with you. Toronto should definitely be on Christmas Day. Cameron, I want to ask you about Toronto. Toronto was fined $25,000 because of their...
Oh, no.
And I put that in quotes, global ambassador Drake trying to court Kevin Durant to come to Toronto in 2016. What do you think of the fine? And what do you think of maybe Durant even thinking about going to Toronto?
If I'm Durant, I'm thinking Toronto. You look at the opportunity to play with DeMar DeRozan, who in my opinion is the best shooting guard in the NBA.
Oh, come on.
Yes, he is. He's better than James Harden defensively. Go ask anybody who is a better defender, James Harden or DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is.
But what about the whole player? What about as a player? You
Okay.
put all attributes together.
Okay, who's a more efficient player?
I would have to say definitely James Harden. DeMar DeRozan shot 43% last year.
Okay, I'm tired of this nonsense though. You look at Harden in the playoffs compared to DeRozan. Let's look at there. DeRozan had a horrible game 1, right? And that was DeRozan's worst game of his life.
Yeah.
But James Harden had countless bad performances where he was trying to isolate against the entire Portland defense. DeRozan proved to everybody that his finishing ability, his his basketball IQ was excellent. He kept Toronto in that series. I mean, in Brooklyn, he really took over the game in the fourth quarter against Brooklyn. This DeRozan guy he's the real deal. He really is the real deal. And
Why while DeRozan is the real deal, Harden averages more points, more field goals, more free throws per game.
Well,
shoots a higher field goal percentage.
But they play a
lot. They both are up there in free throws.
But let me just say this about Harden and the way they play such a... In Houston, they're always in transition. They're always running the break. And Harden's the best, in my opinion, the best three-point transition shooter in the NBA. He's going to make those shots all the time. But when the game is slowed down and it's a half-court game, give me DeMar DeRozan. He's a championship-type player. He's a championship-caliber player in my mind.
DeMar DeRozan also shoots 30% from three, and also has the luxury of playing with an elite point guard, something James Harden doesn't have the luxury of.
But James Harden gets to play with Dwight Howard.
But their teams are built differently.
Yeah.
Their systems are different.
Also, DeMar DeRozan plays in the East, which is significantly weaker than the West.
No,
but as teams, not as individual defenders. You think of the guys he goes against. He has to go against guys like Dwayne Wade still and Paul George and guys like Joe Johnson. So as teams, the East is weaker, but individuals, it's strong.
Let me get back to the point though about Drake. First of all, it's ridiculous. Second of all, it's ridiculous, and third of all, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's no point in doing that to poor Drake. I mean, first of all, if I'm Durant, just think about Toronto, think about Washington. I wouldn't stay in Oklahoma City. There's no point. I want to win a championship. Washington has the best possibility, and Toronto does. I don't want to go and stay in Oklahoma City where we can't execute in late-game situations.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Masai Ujiri is the GM of the Raptors. He's one of the best GMs in the league. He was the 2013 GM of the year. I mean, it'd be pretty amazing if he could get Durant to go to Toronto. But, I mean, why does Drake care? It's $25K. That's like a parking ticket for him. I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah, and reports also said that that they didn't have to pay the fine if they stripped Drake of his title, but those were later said that they were bogus. That would have been stupid. Why strip him of his title? It's just something. It's not a real title. He doesn't do anything. He's just there because the fans love him. So
he's
why do you have to rain on Drake's parade? He started from the bottom. Now he's here.
Oh my God! All right.
What are your guys' thoughts on Greg Monroe signing the Pistons qualifying offer of about $5.5 million, and that way he can become an unrestricted free agent next year?
I love it.
Yeah.
Get out. If you can't get traded, spend one more year in sucky Detroit. Get out of there. Hopefully you don't get injured because then your value is going to go down. But just play one more year with Drummond and Josh Smith dunking all over you, and get out of there next year. I don't know what team would want him, but I mean a lot of teams would want him, but specifically to match their needs, I don't know. Maybe OKC takes another crack at a good power forward.
I think Monroe's an elite big man in the league. I really think he's one of the best bigs in the league. Not only is he a solid low post presence, he's also a good passer and really good rebounder. I mean, he averaged 15 and 9 last year. I mean, what team wouldn't like to have a center that averages 15 and 9, especially in the league right now where there's so few elite post players, and he shoots 50% from the field. I mean, how could you not like that?
I think when you look at the Monroe situation in Detroit, I've always looked at Detroit as the most talented non-playoff team. I mean, they have so many great players, individual players, but they haven't put it together in a team concept. And maybe with Stan Van Gundy they can do that. But I think Monroe made a good decision because what happens if the Pistons do make the playoffs? I mean, the East is kind of unpredictable at times. So if they make the playoffs, maybe I really consider staying with a team like Detroit, but if they don't, then I would probably leave Detroit if I'm Monroe.
It's a shame for him because Joe Dumars really ran that team into the ground. I mean, yeah. I think that Monroe and Andre Drummond was a really good power forward center duo, and I mean, signing Josh Smith for that huge contract was one of the dumbest moves in the NBA. I mean, they're paying him $15 million a year, and he's a tweener. I mean, he can't play small forward. He's not even a 30% three-point shooter.
I think it's horrible for their spacing. I mean, you can just double-team Monroe and Drummond, and then Smith tries to do his best at a three-point shooting contest and goes like 0 for 20. So, I mean, it's really... I think they need to trade Josh Smith.
What are your thoughts on the fact
No one's going to take his contract, though.
Oh, the Lakers will.
Sacramento?
Oh, gosh.
Why Milwaukee? Why not? With Giannis, with Brandon Knight. I mean, that could be interesting.
What are your thoughts on the fact that Eric Bledsoe hasn't not been signed yet?
Wow.
He's being stingy. He's being greedy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He's worth probably 13, maybe 14 million for what limited production he's done on the Suns. But to ask for max, that's not a good idea. You're not going to get a max. He should probably sign the qualifying offer. I think he signs. No, yeah, he should sign the qualifying offer too.
I mean, he was really good last year.
Yeah.
He averaged 18 a game, 6 assists, 5 boards, and the Suns played really well when they played with him and Goran Dragic in the backcourt. And I mean, now that they said Isaiah Thomas, I think it's likely that they'll either let him go or maybe a sign and trade.
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah. I think at the end of the day, Bledsoe will have to go somewhere else because I think now when you have Isaiah Thomas and Dragic, I mean that's a deadly duo. I think Thomas is a combo guard too, similar to Bledsoe in a way. And Isaiah Thomas is a really good 3-point shooter, and I really hope that they get Bledsoe to the right place because he's a really talented player. I think he could have a giant impact. So, Jonathan, we really appreciate you coming on today, and we'll see you next time down the road on In the Paint.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to do this. Best of luck.
You too. All right, so we're back here in the paint, and great to have Jonathan on the show. Let's talk about some other games that are coming up. I want to ask you about the Raptors and the Bulls, December 22nd. Who do you think wins that one?
December 22nd, right before Christmas. I'm going to go Bulls. I think the Bulls they have one of the best front courts in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's an underrated front court, but it's one of the best. People are saying, Gasol could even come off the bench and be a super sub. I don't see that happening. I don't know if Thibodeau does that. And because if he does it, you lose so much defense on your bench if you start Gibson. But I'm going Bulls. It's not that hard of a choice. I don't think the Raptors are there with the depth yet. And I don't think they're there talent-wise. Because behind DeRozan and Lowry, they don't get much scoring. Anyone who can really score on their own.
Well, Vasquez, I think, has gotten better. But, yeah, I agree. Plus, this is in Chicago, and I think Chicago really should take, I agree, Gibson off the bench. Because Gibson's like that energy guy. He's that extra punch that they need. And if Chicago, I think the Raptors, most of their wins come at home because they have the geographical advantages.
Oh my God!
And they're
teaching this.
Okay, I'll just say this: Chicago wins. Let's move on.
Hey, but I just want to say one more thing about Toronto.
Okay.
It's crazy how their fans are up at like 9 a.m. and they're all there cheering, ready to go. It's like, I just woke up. You guys are already at the gym?
Well, you know what? That really speaks to how they are the best fan base truly in the NBA. Everybody keeps giving the nonsense. Well, Oklahoma City's the number one. No. People in Toronto love basketball more than people love basketball in Oklahoma City. It's not even close. It's just Toronto had a few bad years and their attendance wasn't perfect, but trust me, when Oklahoma City has a really bad year, no one will show up.
But do you think maybe fans are only showing up to Raptor game because they were getting better this year? Because it wasn't like that last year. But in my opinion, the best fan base is definitely Portland. And
Really?
The Moda Center gets rocking. Lillard's busting jumpers, making Oaktown signs.
I don't think so, because even you look at Portland throughout their franchise, like when they had the Jailblazers with Rasheed Wallace and Zach Randolph and Bonzi Wells, everybody wanted to boycott the games because they weren't good guys. And I think with Toronto, I mean, even through the Vince Carter episodes, they still went to games. They still supported Vince Carter. So they're going to give you your heart all day, every day. I think Oakland, the Warriors, and I think Toronto, they have the best fan bases in the league.
Yeah. What about a game like Cavs at Timberwolves on that game on January 31st, or Timberwolves at Cavs? Either way, Wiggins playing against the team that drafted him. If this trade goes through, that would be. I don't think there'd be that much bad blood between the teams. I don't know if it's as marquee of a game as it's being promoted as right now.
Yeah, I don't think it will be that big of a deal. I think Cleveland's just so talented. They really are. You look at the starting five, you see talent all over the place when it comes to Cleveland. And I think with Minnesota, they're going to have some struggles, and I really think, and I think you would agree with this, Wiggins is going to have a lot of rookie pains. It's going to be similar to Dirk, in my opinion. When Dirk came in the league, a lot of rookie pains, and I see the same thing with Wiggins.
Yeah, the Cavs. I was playing 2K this morning. This is related to the Cavs, and my friend was playing as the Cavs. I was looking at him like, look how talented this team is.
Yeah.
If you think about it for a while, ponder about it, you have 3 top 15 players on the same team. 2 of them, one of them in their prime now, in LeBron, or who's probably exiting his prime. Irving probably hasn't even reached his prime, and Love, who's in his prime now, maybe not even yet, which is scary. And they have rotation guys. Mike Miller, Waiters is going to end up starting. Tristan Thompson. They have guys who are in the rotation, and to me, they're going to be like the Heat. They're going to have some struggles. They're probably not going to win a championship their first year. I still don't think they're better than the Spurs, but gosh, this team is talented. Them and the Bulls, you look at them, if the Bulls and the Derrick Rose back to normal, those 2 teams are going to be 2 premier teams for the next 3 years.
They're the Chicago and Cleveland, I agree. They're like the 2 really dominating teams in the Eastern Conference. And I think they could sweep the Western Conference. I mean, besides San Antonio. I think San Antonio is another class, unless if San Antonio has major injuries all over the place, which I don't see happening. I think with Cleveland, the 2 biggest worries I have, number 1, will Kyrie play off the ball? Like, who's going to play off the ball on that team?
Who's going to play the Bosch role?
Yeah. And Bosch was a great player. He really accepted his role. And then the second thing is the center spot. I mean, you got Verjao, who's a really great defender, but can Brendan Haywood really come through for a championship team? I don't know if he can do it this year.
And another thing, like you said about Irving, 2 things. The first one, Irving, I think he's too young to play that off the ball role after being the franchise guy the first 3 years. The off the ball role is going to be hard for him. And second, the Cavs have someone every night who can come in and light it up from the get go, from tip off. They have someone. You look at Irving can come in and score 10 of the team's first 12 points. Same with LeBron. Same with Love. So they don't have a shortage of scoring, but yeah, I would hate to see a guy like Irving relegate to someone off the ball and not getting a shot.
But I think you would have to agree with this. I just hope either Kyrie plays off the ball or they have like that Miami mindset from a few years back where if you have the hot hand, we're gonna deliver. We're going to give you the... To me, like, they should just play the hot hand and distribute the ball and just be unselfish and get easier shots for everybody and just spread the wealth.
Yeah, I think Black's system is going to... It's going to be a loose system. It's not going to be a tight-knit system.
Yeah.
Pass and cut. No, it's going to be LeBron, you know what to do, but I hear some things that could help us down the stretch. But one question, this is just like it was Miami 4 years ago when they first got their guys. 5 seconds left, who you going to, LeBron or Kyrie, or even Love?
In my opinion, To me, in the late game situations, I think LeBron should be the primary playmaker. And then, because I feel like he can break the defense down and find somebody, or he can get to the basket and go to the free throw line. I think with Kyrie, I don't know if he's the same type of playmaker, and I don't know if Kevin Love's that same type of playmaker like LeBron James.
But even though Kyrie had all those, those drives to the basket at the last second,
I feel like, you know how when you have young players in the league and they have a lot of success, I think Kyrie, like, he's being scouted on really well, and I feel like with LeBron, you should ride it with him as the playmaker, because he's the best playmaker they have.
Next game, we talked about Clippers Warriors. Heat at Rockets. This was one of the top games on Bleacher Report. I guess it's because Bosch really screwed the Rockets. I don't know why. First, I don't know why he screwed them like that. But Heat at Rockets, January 3rd. What do you see about this game, Cameron?
I know you don't believe that Houston will be an elite team in this league, but first of all, I think Miami could win maybe a first round series, but I don't think the Rockets are that bad. I think the Rockets are an elite team. I really do.
I don't think they're bad, though.
But I mean, like, mediocre, not mediocre, but good, but they can't get over the hump. Right? Is that what you think?
Well, I don't even think that. I think they're a top 5 team, but the way their roster is constructed, you lose 2 role players in Ashik and Lin and a starter in Parsons, which you replaced on a cheaper deal with Ariza, but Ariza's only going to give you threes and maybe an occasional drive to the basket. So the pressure's all on Harden and Howard. Do you think they can handle that pressure?
Yeah, they can. This is Shaq and Kobe all over again in a way. Because these guys, I think, both Harden and Howard, they're going to work together to get this done. And they know let me just say this, when James Harden is at his best and Dwight Howard is at his best, nobody can stop the Houston Rockets because they're going to break the defense down and they're going to find tons of open guys for shots. And I know they can do it. I know they can execute better late in games. The problem is they just haven't done it yet, and I'm waiting for them to do that.
And obviously, their depth is also an issue. Dwight, if he can stay on the floor because he's in foul trouble sometimes, and Harden's conditioning, but their depth is a problem too. But for you, I know the main thing for you about the Rockets, make sure Dwight's the number 1 option.
Yes.
All summer.
Why not? Why not? I mean, okay, I can't. Okay, when Dwight Howard was given the ball late in games, if you go back to the Game 6 in Portland, you look at some of the other games where Dwight Howard was the feature guy in the fourth quarter. When did they not have success?
That's true. I'm not denying. I think Dwight. I think what the Rockets and Daryl Morey need to do is surround him with shooters.
Yeah.
Which they've kind of done in Harden and Ariza, but besides that, Beverly's not really a shooter. Terrence Jones he has a mid-range but not a 3-point shot. And like I said, their depth isn't really there like it was last year.
But I really think that Terrence Jones, I think he will really evolve into a Chris Bosh type player.
Yeah, I could definitely.
He can hit the 3. He's going to hit the 3 this year. He kind of hit the 3 at the end of the year, and I think he'll really improve upon that. And you got my guy, Troy Daniels from VCU. He's going to light it up from 3. You got Isaiah Cannon from 3, Jordan Hamilton. They can hit it from 3.
Yeah. This past season, there are a lot of games I was watching on League Pass that I thought, why are these not on national TV? Another one that is going to be a big game, Wizards at Trailblazers.
Oh.
January 24th, mark that on your calendar. 2 young point guards in Lillard and Wall going at it. Portland, in my opinion, one of the most talented teams when they want to be. Same with the Wizards. Wizards in Portland, top to bottom, starting five, very talented. Who has a nod in this game, Cameron?
I'm gonna go with Portland because I know I've been hyping up Washington a lot. I really have. But I'm starting to worry about the two big men down low, and Gortat and Nene and their health. I feel like it's coming to an end with Nene and Gortat, and those are two huge factors. And I think Portland, you take something away from Portland, and they have something else to offer, okay? You tell them, you stop them in transition, well, they can play half-court offense. If you tell them, if you try to make this a transition game, they'll deliver. So Portland has so many different gears, and I think Portland will win that game.
Yeah, Portland, I really liked watching them this past year. Batum didn't have the greatest year that we thought he would, but he was still solid defensively, which is usually what they ask for. Do you see? We talked about Wizards a lot, the Trailblazers. Do you see them finishing past the number 5 seed they were this year?
Oh man, that's tough. Yes, I think they'll be oh no. Actually, I think they'll stay where they're at. But I think they are a better playoff team. They're better fit for the playoffs than the regular season at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way their team is built, they can go to Wes. Wes Matthews is one of the most underrated shooters this year.
Yeah, and he really posted up James Harden and took Harden out of the game. So,
yeah, that was surprising to see him post up Harden and not just be a 3-point shooter. And all of a sudden, a team like Portland has all this depth. They brought in Chris Kane, who can be a sort of big for them. Thomas Robinson stepped up towards the last season. Darrell Wright, 3-point shooter. Hopefully, C.J. McCollum can step into that backup role, and then Steve Blake comes in, also as a backup point guard.
Wait,
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
What?
I was just gonna say real quick. We talked about just right now about how Portland's a great playoff team. I really believe that if Portland didn't face San Antonio in the second round, they would have been into the Western Conference Finals. Like, if they didn't have to go through San Antonio, they would have definitely made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, definitely. They could have torn apart the Thunder.
I agree.
This is from a few hours ago. I just saw it though. Word that Donald Sterling's appeal to block Clipper sales denied. The court rules the deal is closed. It's official. Finally, we can start partying.
Yeah, Steve Ballmer. He has the team now, and I think he's going to do a really solid job with the Clippers.
Yeah, back to more scheduled games. Spurs at Cavs, November 19th.
Ooh.
Within the first month of the season. This could be a finals matchup right here. This could be it. This could be because this season is likely the last season the Spurs have that open window. But yeah, Cameron, November 19th.
Mm-hmm.
What? Now, who do you think? Okay, first of all, who do you think's the better team between the two?
Well, we haven't seen yet. Like, San Antonio has pretty much the same type of team. We haven't really seen Cleveland's team yet with LeBron and Kevin Love, so we don't know there. But I just think San Antonio's system, to me, there's only one team that can beat San Antonio, and that's themselves. Case closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. The Spurs can play with anyone. And even if they're not the most talented team in the league, I think they can beat the Cavs.
They can beat the Cavs, for sure.
They have a solid chance of beating their team ball. Some people thought they wouldn't be able to beat the Heat this year. Some people thought it was three-peat. It was three-peat time.
I overreacted.
But the Spurs proved that they can have guys who can step up if Parker isn't doing the job. That Leonard was big. I'm still not all the way hyped about Leonard, how some people are.
But I think he can be...
I think he'd be great, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll be Hall of Famer great.
Oh, no, it's way too early.
Yeah. I think he's still developing because when he came out of college out of San Diego State, he was more of a inside player. And now with San Antonio, I mean, the requirement is you have to be a great passer and a great shooter. And I think Kawhi is starting to become those two things. It's going to take time, but I think Kawhi deserved MVP last year of the finals, and I think he's going to be a huge contributor though for San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. I just wasn't all about the premature superstar call. Superstar yet. I thought it was way too early. He had a good playoff run, but not a good finals run. I don't know if this game slipped into Bleacher Report. Knicks at Nets. Is that even still a rivalry anymore?
If you want to see JR and Joe Johnson just float in between the 3-point lines, yeah, it's fun, but I don't know what's entertaining about that one.
Yeah, well, if you had to, Brooklyn basically dominated that series last year. Do you still think the Nets are the better team, or did you ever think the Nets were the better team?
Oh, the Nets are, I think, better than the Knicks. I mean, the problem with the Nets is sometimes I feel like they're a little too old and they don't have another gear. It's like the late '90s Knicks when Ewing was getting old. You got Oakley and Larry Johnson, the phantom foul play, and just a bunch of bodybuilders and guys who couldn't get up and down the floor. And I kind of see that with Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm, yeah, their championship window was one season. That's bad. A one-season championship window, and now it's completely gone. It's completely shut. The window isn't halfway open. They're closed for business. The Houston Rockets at the Dallas Mavericks. Chandler Parsons against his old team.
Ooh.
Is this a classic Texas two-step battle? Is there any bad blood between these teams, or are these just two good teams going at it?
Two really high-scoring teams going at it. I wouldn't be surprised if we go into 125, 130. I mean, Harden will get to the three-point line. Howard will get his alley-oops and post-ups. So it'll be very fun, very entertaining. I love seeing the Rockets and Mavericks play because they're so high-scoring. They don't play defense. It's kind of fun, and it'll be a lot of fun to see both Houston and Dallas play each other. What were you gonna say? I was gonna ask you about Chandler Parsons' role and just Dallas in general. I mean, you're probably gonna lose Sean Marion, but you still have Parsons, who's a really good offensive player. No Calderon, but you have Raymond Felton. Do you think that Dallas will have a really top-notch offense, even missing those players?
Yeah, they had a mini overhaul this year. I'm looking at the roster, some of the guys they got. Brought back Devin Harris, got Raymond Felton. They even got Jameer Nelson, and that was the under the radar move by them. And Al-Farouq Aminu, so they have a lot of talent. Only 9 guys that probably play. Parsons' role is gonna be a big role. It's gonna be much bigger than it was. I wouldn't say much bigger. It's gonna be bigger than it was in Houston. Dirk is still. I think Parsons will get a lot of touches that went to maybe Monte Ellis or say Calderon, but Dirk's still gonna get his. Ellis is still gonna get his. Tyson Chandler isn't requiring the ball a lot, and neither is whoever starts between Felton, Nelson, or Harris.
Yeah, but the thing with Felton is if you're going to run a high-tempo offense, I don't know if you can do that with Raymond Felton. I don't think he's that type of point guard, and I don't know what type of team Dallas is going to have. Are they going to go up and down like last year, or are they going to slow it down? Where do you think Dallas should slow it down this year, or should they be a high-tempo team?
Their team is so versatile. When you see Tyson Chandler, he'll block someone, they'll be running. And if Felton can't do that, then they have more than capable guards in Devin Harris who can run the floor. And even Jameer Nelson, we've seen him say he's a gifted passer. And then if the bench unit comes in, they can move Dirt to the 5 and play Alfred Camino at the 4.
Yeah,
that's another team that can run.
They have versatility, and Dallas is one of those sneaky teams that if they get in the playoffs, I mean, they can upset somebody in the first round. They almost upset San Antonio in the first round.
Oh, I'm so glad they did. I'm so glad they didn't, because I know that Miami would have steamrolled and won the finals again, and I'm glad they didn't. It's true. You know, if Miami faced any other Western Conference team.
Yeah.
Well, Portland would have been a good series against them.
No, I think they would have pulled it out against Portland, though. I don't know if you can. They didn't have the same type of defense, really. They didn't. Portland wasn't a good rebounding team. That was their one issue.
Because LaMarcus was always playing.
Yeah.
He was always playing out, so offensive rebounding was limited to tips by Robin Lopez. And defensively, LaMarcus was never really an elite rebounder. Well, Cameron, do you have any other games you want to talk about highlighting games?
No. Well, I was going to ask you about something else. Okay, actually, let's start with this one. No Kevin Durant at the U.S. camp, but Rudy Gay is a replacement for Kevin Durant.
Rudy Gay
is, to me, I feel like I like Rudy Gay. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he is the best they could have got at that position.
Well, in such short notice, Rudy Gay's that Kevin Durant type player. You gotta think he's like Kevin Durant in a few ways.
Yeah.
But as we saw with other late invites, and especially this late into camp, like we saw with Wall and Millsap, Rudy may not even make it because they still have 16 guys. They got to cut it down to 12. We don't know who that 12 will be. But why don't you think Rudy was the best guy they could get?
Well, I mean, you're right about making the team and all that. I think we still have to look out for that. I think, first of all, I think Millsap really deserves the opportunity to be on that team. And I'm looking at the roster right now. Gordon Hayward and Paul Millsap deserve to be on that team.
Yeah, Millsap, I still don't think he's international type. He's not an international player. I think you gotta have guys who he's not a guy who runs down the floor.
But he can hit the 3 ball.
Yeah, and I think they rely on their big men for transition in their guard. Also, but they rely on their guards mostly for half court offense and their forwards. They don't rely. We're not going to see many post ups. I don't think. That's why I don't think you need the most fundamentally sound big man. That's why I don't know if a guy like DeMarcus Cousins necessarily needs to be on the team. Yeah, my friend Vinny's over here freaking out because he's a huge Kings fan, but a guy like DeMarcus, he's fundamentally sound, but he doesn't run the pick and roll the best, and he can't get up and down the floor.
No, I disagree. I think DeMarcus.
In what part?
I think DeMarcus is good in transition. I think he's super athletic. He's one of the most athletic guys in the league, you could say.
Come on.
Yeah, you know he is. He is. He's so fast. He's such a strong player and a great rebounder. They need DeMarcus. They need Paul Millsap. Okay, Paul Millsap can do way more than just post-ups. He can do the pick and pop. He's a great passer. He's a great defender. He can do it all. To me, I don't think Mason Plumlee should make the team, and I don't think who did I say earlier?
Korver?
No, Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay and Mason Plumlee. I don't think those are the two guys that should make the team. I think Korver and I think Gordon Hayward really deserve to be on the team, along with Paul Millsap and DeMarcus Cousins.
Do you think there's any biased feeling at all with USA basketball?
Of course. I think they're not. they're always going to pick, the Duke guys, and they're always going to support the Duke guys. And
Oh, come on.
no, and okay, you know this too. To me, I feel like some of these guys try to butter up Coach K. I mean, look at James Harden constantly talking to Coach K. I mean, you don't see DeMar DeRozan doing that, or you don't see a guy like, I don't know, Gordon Hayward doing that, but it seems like they're always trying to talk to the coach constantly and trying to get on their good side just so they can start. To me, DeRozan should start. He should start.
DeRozan, yeah, you don't hear his name much. I think he's a bubble player, honestly. He might be a bubble player.
What do you mean he's not going to make the team?
I think he's on the crop of the list that could get cut because they have guys who can play the one. They have point guards, guys who play point guard in NBA that can play the two in international to play like Curry or even Lillard.
Yeah, but you can say they're undersized and they could be defensive liabilities. DeRozan isn't that. DeRozan's a lockdown guy who can change. With DeRozan on the floor, it changes the transition game, and they want to get up and down. And DeRozan's such a dynamic player in transition.
So I know you're high in DeRozan and Gordon Hayward. If you had, say they had 13 players and only 12 slots, who do you get rid of, Hayward or DeRozan?
Well, Hayward and DeRozan wouldn't be in the conversation. It would be Plumlee and Rudy Gay who would be out.
I really think they like Plumlee, though.
Well, of course, because...
Well, I don't think it's because he's a Duke guy. I think he works so hard to get off the select team. You know, I bet it's really hard to... I don't think anyone's ever been off the select team and be able to make it to the real team, because the select team, they're set in stone as they're going to play against the real guys. But for him to make it off that team and have such a performance that he can be put on the training camp, I think that was really big.
No, look, I think Plumlee is great, but he needs to wait his turn. I mean, Gordon Hayward may never get this type of opportunity. We don't know about a guy like Kyle Korver if he's going to get the opportunity in the future. So I think we need to reward these guys. And I thought that's what Team USA was all about. It's starting to become a little too competitive in Team USA. I mean, it used to be all fun-loving, like the Dream Team. Oh, Barkley talking to Chris Mullin and talking about how much they love each other and all that. Now it's starting to become way too cutthroat.
Yeah, it's crazy. These guys wanting to play they want to represent the country. They want to represent the USA and bring a gold medal home. But one of the guys you talked about, Steph Curry, he was on the Dan Patrick show yesterday.
Oh.
Are you not a fan of Dan Patrick?
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little mad after some of the videos I saw on YouTube, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, he asked some weird questions. He asked Curry who he thought was a better scorer, him or LeBron.
Well, that's a weird question.
As if he wouldn't say himself. And then he asked another question. He asked, would your team be better with if you traded away Thompson and got Love? And I'm like, you can't ask him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not going to say, oh, yeah, we would have been better with Love. We should have just traded Klay Thompson. But, he asked him, and Curry said, yeah, I've always thought about playing at home in Charlotte, where he's from that area. Now, he just finished his first year of his cheap 4-year, $44 million deal. So he has 3 more to go. Oh, we're having a caller, Robert Dieters. I think he heard our conversation.
All right, Robert, go ahead.
You're on In the Paint with Cameron and Jordan, Robert.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Obviously, I heard your conversation about Steph Curry and LeBron James. And my take on this is that I heard the conversation between Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless on ESPN for a second. Stephen A. was defending Stephen Curry. As a Warriors fan, yes. I understand the confidence you want to build, but LeBron James is way better in the paint than, obviously, Steph Curry. Steph Curry can barely dunk the ball. Obviously, in three-point shooting, he is better than LeBron James. But, and he has more assists, so that's because he's a point guard. LeBron James is counting on to shoot most of the points, and LeBron obviously shoots, well, obviously has more points per game than Stephen Curry does. I gotta say, in this debate, you have to give it to LeBron James. He's one of the best players in NBA history. Stephen Curry, you haven't even won a ring yet, so just calm down a little bit.
Yeah, another thing Dan Patrick asked him was, if you were asked to go on the court and score as many points, and LeBron was asked to go on the court and score as many points, who do you think would score more?
Oh,
and
gosh,
again,
Dan Patrick.
Yeah, he actually asked that. You guys can look at the interview of Dan Patrick interviewing Stephen Curry, and I was like, why are you asking him that?
Can I say something real quick about the Curry? Look, I think LeBron's a better offensive player, but I'm really proud of Curry's answer because he should have the confidence to say that. He should say I'm a better offensive player. I don't think if you go ask LeBron, are you offended by that? LeBron would say no. I mean, when LeBron was young in this league, he thought he was a great player too. So I think you need to have confidence if you're going to have success. I don't think it's cocky. I think Stephen Curry gave a great answer, and Stephen Curry's a really humble kid, a really humble guy, and I think Curry has the opportunity to be one of the best offensive players in NBA history, but I think LeBron's got the whole package at this moment. But Curry, I'm proud of your confidence and I'm proud of your answer, even though coming from a LeBron guy.
Robert, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I have a question for Robert. Do you think it's realistic that Curry could go to Charlotte once his contract is up in 3 seasons?
The question of players returning back home is the same thing as LeBron James on Cleveland. I have to say, it could possibly happen. I can see him going back to Charlotte, but Stephen Curry needs to win the NBA Finals championship, and then you can go to Charlotte. I mean, obviously, the Golden State Warriors invested a lot of money in this kid, and this kid is finished the franchise for the Golden State Warriors right now. I understand if you want to go end your career in Charlotte. I don't care. But you have to win NBA Finals to leave the Golden State Warriors. I don't care if you're going to play one more year in Charlotte. You at least have to win NBA Finals. Obviously, another situation with Kevin Durant. Going to be going to the Washington Wizards in 2 years. Think about it. Paul Pierce's contract's going to be up. And Kevin Durant can maybe fill in that hole. Imagine a John Wall, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, or Marcin Gortat getting the job done. Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. But, I gotta say, I think just going to answer your question, it is likely that Stephen Curry could be going back to Charlotte.
Yeah, I think it's possible, especially if things don't go so well in Oakland. You know, if Lee gets traded and Bogut's contract is up and Thompson doesn't get his max deal. But with a guy like Durant, do you think he needs to win a championship also before we can go back to Washington? What do you think, Cameron?
Sorry. Say that one more time. Sorry about that. Say it one more.
Because Robert said that Curry needs to win a ring before we can go back to Charlotte. Do you think that's the same with Durant? Do you think he needs to win a ring to prove himself that he can bring some real success to Washington, D.C.?
No, I don't think it has to do with... Because circumstances are always going to be different. I mean, we don't know what Golden State's going to look like in a few years. We don't know what Oklahoma City's going to look like in a few years. So, I don't think... I mean, LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami. He didn't have a ring. Dwight Howard left Orlando, and he didn't have a ring. So, I don't think it has anything to do with championships. I think they're great, high-caliber, top-notch players. And if Curry decides that Charlotte is the best environment to win, he should go there. It's maximizing your opportunity. If you have an opportunity to work at a better company, you're going to work for that better company. Same issue here with all these star players.
Yeah, Robert, do you have any other questions or comments before we... Because I think we may be almost done soon.
Just the Christmas game between Golden State Warriors and the LA Clippers. This is a big game to watch now because obviously the Warriors did win on Christmas Day. It was a very close game between the Clippers and the Warriors. Would you say this is one of the top-notch games to watch on Christmas Day?
top-notch game, definitely. I just hope the NBA doesn't overplay it
Yeah.
and oversell it too much. You know, NBA's done that in the past with not recently, because, you know, like Pacers and Heat, that was always good. Same with Nets and Knicks, maybe a little bit this year, but I just hope they don't oversell it. This is probably the last year you can call it a rivalry without the teams getting sick of it. But the four times they meet, that's gonna get between with Christmas Day and the other 3 times. After that, I think you gotta move on to another Christmas Day game or another rival. You gotta find another rivalry in the league.
Yeah, I think it's starting to, because we also have to remember how many times they play each other. They're in the Pacific Division, and they play each other a lot. So it kind of does get tiring after a while, especially when we see them in the playoffs. But I think this is, again, I agree with you, the one last golden year of this rivalry.
Yeah, well,
Okay, but, alright, you guys make a good point there, but kind of like the Giants-Dodgers, that Neville Watson is a big series for fans to watch. You guys bring up 4 times a year, I understand that. The Giants and Dodgers, you know, about six of the 3-game series they have, they meet about 4 times a year. That 3-game sets. I mean, I still think this is a big series. Just think about all the fights they've had. Bogut started stuff like Griffin and started stuff. CP3 and Stephen Curry. I mean, I don't know why you guys are making the argument that you don't think this series is going to be huge. I think it's kind of like a Giants-Dodgers series. Obviously, it's not that violent, but still, it's a pretty big series.
yeah, it's a big series, but they would have, over the last 2 seasons, they would have played each other 15 times between 8 in the regular season, that's 7 in the playoffs this past season. And it's not tiring. It's still going to be good. Hopefully, it's still going to be good basketball. But you just don't want to milk it, and you don't want them to you know, you don't want the spark to go away. After a while, they're probably going to stop fighting and stop hating each other.
Yeah.
And then you still NBA continues to show them on TV. It just turns into just another series, kind of like the Lakers-Clippers series this year. The first year was good. The second year it was okay. Now this third year, it was like, really, I don't need to see the Lakers get blown out.
That was actually pretty fun, but...
Okay, Cameron.
Okay, but we can also say the Giants-Dodgers. I mean, obviously, sometimes the Giants are great, sometimes the Dodgers. They're a great team. It's still a rivalry because the fans make it a rivalry.
Cameron?
Look, I think the Warriors-Clippers, it's great, but I think sometimes the NBA oversells when it comes to rivalries. Baseball, they don't do it. In the NBA, it just happens over time.
Like, the Pacers and Heat were still both at the top, and they still had all their guys intact. Maybe it would have been a little oversold, and especially since they did meet 6 games this past year. And okay, if the Warriors and the Clippers faced again this year and played 7 games in the first or second round or the conference finals, then maybe it could have stayed if it would have been heated. But I think after this season, you gotta cut it, and they'll still obviously play each other the 4 times because they're in the same division. But I think it's enough, and move on to it. Find another rivalry. Find the Cavs. Make up a Cavs-Bulls rivalry or something like that.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, guys. I was here talking to you about rivalries and talking about the Stephen Curry and LeBron today.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on the show.
I had no problem with the show.
Okay, bye. No, he's gone. Okay.
Oh wait, I think you want to end things here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this guy on or guy or girl, I don't know, but on the chat said this person's name is Harry Smith. And wait, is your friend trying to call in?
No, it wasn't him.
Oh,
It
okay.
might have been maybe Chris Sylvester.
Yeah.
Or
Okay, so
Camp studio manager Dan West.
I want to meet Dan West personally, but Harry Smith, how do I call? And then I just gave the number, the number to call, and then call in 10 minutes. I don't know if Harry Smith is going to call right now, but We'll just give a few shout-outs and wait maybe 1 minute to see if he'll come on. But I have a really big shout-out to the LA Fitness guys close by in Mission Viejo. I just saw a guy who looked like Lance Stevenson. Like,
Is it him?
no, I was going to ask, are you Lance Stevenson's brother or something? Because this guy played like Lance Stevenson. He looked like Lance Stevenson. Like his whole body, everything about him looked like Lance Stevenson except for two things. He had glasses on, and he wasn't, it didn't seem like he really hit the bench press as much as Stevenson does. But this guy was such a great teammate in our pickup games. I really appreciate it. I hope he's listening. He's probably not. I don't even know his name. But he was a great guy, great player, except I wish he would have kicked it out to me in the corner for that 3, but it's okay. I have no hard feelings. But that's my shout-out of the day, especially to those LA Fitness guys. We have a lot of fun and a lot of fights at the LA Fitness in Mission Viejo.
While we're waiting, this isn't really... I saw this on Bleacher Report. It was a question, what will LeBron face in Miami return?
Oh, yeah, I've been hearing that a lot everywhere. So many talk shows have been talking about that. I mean, if I was a Heat fan, I would just say, I would just clap for him and then still root for my team. I mean, he still contributed a lot. I don't know why you would boo.
Yeah, it's similar to things in the past that are going to come, like Paul Pierce. I wouldn't compare it to him being as great in the franchise, but all cheers from Paul Pierce when he went back to Boston. I think when a guy like Pau Gasol goes back to LA, I think they're going to cheer him.
Yeah.
Because, LA is such a classy franchise.
Okay, they are. I just don't think the fans are always classy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the fans at times can be a little ruthless.
Yeah, especially when it comes to Dwight Howard, but...
Yeah, this year I think it's going to be just as bad. I think it's going to be just as bad when Dwight comes to LA.
Poor guy.
But, has Harry Smith called yet?
Oh, yes. Harry Smith called. I'm going to get Harry Smith on real quick. I mean, I believe this is Harry Smith. This could be just a random number, but... No star 67, so... Alright, we're waiting for the call here from Harry Smith. This could be Dan West, Chris Sylvester, Nick Rice, I don't know, Daniel Levy.
Oh, gosh.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Is this Harry Smith?
Yeah, that's my internet name, yeah.
Wait, okay. Can I ask you a few things before we talk about basketball real quick?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Are you impersonating somebody, or are you actually Harry Smith? Is that your real name?
Yeah.
Your real name is Harry Smith, or is your computer name Harry Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's okay. Well, we'll just go by Harry Smith. Harry, what are you excited about in the NBA season?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Harry, what are you excited about for this upcoming NBA season?
I'm really excited to see, just the whole new Cavaliers, Heat rivalry forming with, LeBron, obviously, going over to his home. Excited to see that unfold. And really just, I'm excited to see
we lost Harry Smith. Do you know who it is?
No.
Well, Harry Smith, if you are a real listener and you're not Chris Sylvester trying to do impersonations, we really appreciate it to have a guy like Harry Smith call in to the show. But that's the end, I think. Or should we wait for Harry Smith one more time, or should we just go?
Let's just go. I just want to give a shout out to my friend Vinny over here. He's been in here all night listening to us. He's a big Kings fan. Vinny, what kind of things are you hoping from the Kings this year?
I'm hoping they make it to the playoffs, first of all. It's going to be a tough division. You know?
Specifically, who's your favorite Kings player?
DeMarcus.
DeMarcus, guys.
Yes.
Cameron, are you a Kings fan too?
Well, I hope Vinny would agree with this. The Kings got, the Kings were unfairly knocked out of the playoffs in 2002 by the Lakers.
Oh my God!
Vinny, do you agree?
I do agree.
I've told Cameron all the stories of all the Kings fans here in Sacramento and at my school who just hate the Lakers for 2002.
Everybody.
I'm one of those guys. We didn't do anything wrong. We played the series. We're sorry that the ref, wanted to make some money off the series.
Everybody, go to Conspiracy Cover Up YouTube channel. It's Kings Lakers. I'm reading it right now. Kings Lakers Game 6 mixtape, rigged 2002. Make sure you check that 8-minute video to really fill you in with good basketball history. All right, Vinny. Anything else you want to say?
Sorry. What did you say, Cameron?
Does Vinny have anything else he wants to say before we go?
No, I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's a conclusion of In the Paint, and we will all see you next time. Thanks.